system.
Yeah, that never
We're
works
live.
with any of these.
Like a virus.
Okay.
Hey, Jared, I'm supposed to say hello from Chachi.
Hell yeah.
Is he the one that put us together? I forget how that all came about. Okay.
Chachi's a buddy of mine. Chachi is a buddy of a mine in Kansas City. And he just texted me and said, hey, Chachi wants you to tell JT hi.
All right. Very cool. All right. Trying to think if we covered everything. We've got commercials, the fade in, the fade out. That'll do it. All right. I can't think of a reason not to start.
Let's fucking do it.
All right. Here we go. Oh, I can think of a reason. I haven't reset my timers. Here we go.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit on the tanker through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly wrong.
So yeah, there I was climbing a steel ladder that was about 30 feet, completely exposed to everything that was going on outside, which was a complete war. And I was trying to get to the highest spot in order to see as F-16s were screaming at me over the hand mic.
Holy shit, that sounds dangerous. But that's how all great aviation tales begin.
No, that's not how they all start.
No, that's a terrifying one begins. Greetings, everyone. Repeat here, coming to you from New Hampshire today. Where's my co-host?
Hey, I'm in God's country, Cordy, Missouri. Got home last night. Thank you. And it is our pleasure to welcome JT to So There I Was. Thank you, JT.
Nice, yeah.
Absolutely.
JT,
Here
co-founder,
from Texas.
Black Rifle Coffee Company, Air Force TACP. Let's. This is going to be good stuff, man. Thank you so much. So, I guess let's get right into it. One of the first notes you have is lie, cheat, and steal to become a TACP. Anything to get into there. How'd you hear about that? How'd you learn that you wanted to do something like that?
I mean, I had no clue that it existed at all. Like just like most people in those time frames, the Air Force didn't do a good job of letting you know that they had these 4 combat, related jobs, and you didn't learn about it until you got into basic training. So yeah, I was in basic, and a guy, we're like in between classes, if you will, because they had all these classrooms that you'd sit in, and we're waiting for another lesson, and this gigantic man walks in with, we're in BDUs. This is 2003, but he has Air Force stripes and Army patches on his shoulders. So that's like something that you're like, wait, hang on, what
does that mean?
About? Yeah. And then he turns around and he has all these, badges that we've never seen up to this point either. So you had halo wings and scuba bubble and jump wings, and you're like, okay, I've not seen anybody in the Air Force wear any of these. And he writes on the chalkboard. He turns around and he goes, "Who likes money?" And everybody's kind of like looking around, like, one guy is like, "I guess I do." And he writes $300 on the chalkboard, and he goes, "Who likes to skydive?" And like somebody was like, "Oh, I like to skydive." And he writes 250 on there. He goes, "Who likes to scuba dive?" And now more people are like, "Oh, I'll scuba dive." And he writes another 250. He's like, who likes explosives? And like, everyone's, oh, I guess I like explosives. And he writes,
Right.
another, and then he
I'm
adds it
blowing
all
shit up.
And he's like, that's how much extra you would get a month if you did my job. And we're like,
I know you had a lot of people's attention.
yeah. And he's like, this is how much extra money you get just for all these things. And then he starts painting this scenario about Iran, where, he is in an overwatch position from an enemy airfield, and he's got a laser target designator, and there's an entire army assault force behind him, and he initiates this whole attack with an A-10 AGM 65 strike. And then the army just rushes down the hill and takes everything over, and he continues to control airstrikes. Yeah, I was like, oh man, like, that is 100. I had no clue this job existed, and now that's the only thing I want.
Right.
So hey, let me stop here right there and ask you: you were at Basic already. Were you under an open type contract, or
No,
did you already?
I was a weapons, so I was going to be a person that worked on the M61 Alpha 2s.
Okay. So, so what's the process like after that? You go,
Well,
okay.
So he's like, anybody is allowed to try out. Who wants to try out? And I make my whole row like, I'm like, we're all trying out. Like, you're not a man if you're not going to try and do this. So he gives us at that point, like, I'm the ringleader of this group, and he gives me what's called an appointment slip to leave whatever's going on in 2 days at a certain time to walk to this track, and that's going to be the assessment of who's going to get their contract changed. So day comes, show our instructor, our drill instructor, the piece of paper. He's like, all right, you guys go. So I gaggle up the 5 that I said are, we're all going to go try out for this. And we walk down around Lackland Air Force Base to this track where there's about 115 people there, because they've gone and asked everybody in that same week of basic training, and there's about 5 to 10 from each basic training flight that was like, oh, I'll try that. So they give us a PT test, and during the PT test, I'm asking like a million questions. So like, I'm doing push-ups, and I'm asking, like, do we get lasers on our guns? Like, do we get to wear night vision? Like,
right.
And they're just like, the instructor, his name was Hayes. He just kept rolling his eyes like, oh God, kid, like, what now? What's next? So we do the PT test. They like give a sample of what it's like to get smoked. They're because they're actually physical. So they're hemming everybody up like at a much more intense level in which our drill instructor was, because we were Air Force,
right?
And that gets a lot of people to quit. Like, they just get at least half to give up. Like, during, like, there was one thing where he said we're only going to do 10 push-ups, but we're like 15 minutes in and we're only on like number 4. So like, people are, oh, I quit. All right. So we make it all the way through that. And he gives everybody this speech afterwards. He's like, all right, on the Thursday or your 5th week of basic training, you'll find out if you made it or not, and you'll get a new contract. And so this was like week 3.
Okay.
So I was like a mess, and was like, wait, I just have to wait and I see if, like, this is the greatest job I've ever heard of. Like, no way. So I had kept that appointment slip, and I taped it under my security drawer. And that Thursday of the 5th week, I walked up to our instructor in the morning at like 6:30 a.m. and flashed that slip, which didn't, had the wrong date on it. I just was like, hey, we have TACP stuff we have to go do today. He's like, yeah, I don't care. Go away. So I grabbed the guys, and they're like, what are we doing? I go, we're going to go find out if we made it. So now I'm just aimlessly walking around Lackland with like 4 other guys.
You're like AWOL at this point.
The
They
only
just don't
thing
know
that
it yet.
the only thing I can think of is to go to the MPF. So we go to the MPF because there's like a manned help center right at the front. So we walk in and we sit down, and but by the way, we waited outside for 30 minutes because it was closed until 7:30. So we go in, and the woman asks, she's like, what are you guys here for? I go, we're here to see Sergeant Hayes with the TACP recruiting. And she goes, okay, just have a seat. And we sat until like 1 o'clock.
No.
And she came out and she was like, did he still not come? I'm like, no. And she's like, well, let me give him a call. I'm like, yeah. So, so I hear her on the phone, and he's like, wait, who's there? And where? He's like, I'll be there in a second. So she's like, he's on his way. So about 15 minutes go by. He comes blowing through the door. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I couldn't wait any longer. Like, I needed to know if I'm getting to go be a TACP. And he looks at his papers in his left hand. He goes, oh yeah, JT, like you're going. And he looks at my buddy that I brought with me. He goes, but you're not. And then he looks at his hand. He goes, but now I don't have to go find this guy. He takes my buddy who retired last year. He told this story about how the only reason he's a TACP was because I drug him along this weird adventure.
So of the five guys that you drug down there, how many were gonna make the cut?
Only 2.
Just you and your buddy?
Yeah.
Wow.
The other guys actually like quit right there. He was like, well, I don't have more slots. They're like, we don't even want to do this. He's just been dragging us around all this time.
Funny.
And he was like, okay, that makes sense.
Just as well then. See ya.
So was that the only weeding out process? I mean, I'm guessing there's probably a lot more to it.
The first phase of the entire TACP school, because I went back and I was an instructor too.
Okay.
Also, the day before we march for graduation is the day we start striking Iraq. So
oh shit. Okay, got real.
I got my contract changed, and then like 3 days later, we're starting another war. So I'm like jumping up and down. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm going.
Well, if that's what you're in it for, by God, your timing was perfect.
Right. Exactly.
So after you graduated, you had the graduation ceremony there in Lackland. Did you stay right there for additional training with the TACPs?
That didn't come alive until around 2015. So back then, you got on a plane and went to Herbert Field, Florida. You went to Fort Walton Beach, and you started what was called pre-team. So the team that was graduating would wake you up every morning and run your PT and run you and things like that, and then you just waited until 3 to 5 people would trickle in every week, from who they plucked out of basic, until you had about 30, and then you'd start the course. And then that first phase that's your weeding out phase. So it's all PT heavy.
Yep.
You get what they call sharked. So like instructors come in at 1 o'clock in the morning, wake everybody up, run you until 10 a.m. and then you gotta stay awake and do class. Yeah.
That's sounds fairly familiar.
That's Kingsbury right there. That photo is actually, I was in Mosul, Iraq with him, and I was an instructor with him.
Nice. Yeah, those guys that were down on the ground looked a little dirty, like they've been rolling around in it a little bit. So how long is that initial phase of this TACP training?
So I mean, man, it's changed so much now. Back then, it was about 5 or 6 months. Was your like school? Yeah, and because each phase is about 2.5 months, and you do so. The first phase is kind of like Air Force publications and doctrinal shit of like, hey, this is how you find information in the military, pretty much. Then block 2 is radio communications. So You're learning every radio that we use, which we use, the HF radio, we use a VHF, UHF radio. So the Army talks on Fox mic,
Right.
the Air Force and anything in the air talks on AM, UHF, and then SATCOM. So and then you're learning all your crypto devices, how to load these radios, how to fill them, and how to keep them secure talking, as well as have quick too. So frequency hopping, like this is all very difficult programmable things that you're a radio operator. So you have to not only know how to do it like a million ways from Sunday, but you have to know how to troubleshoot it as well.
Right.
So then phase 3 is SUT. That's the like hard, and this was when there were 7 phases, but now there's 3, I believe. But phase 3 was small unit tactics. This is, they're teaching you FM 7-8, which is the infantryman's tactics field manual. You're learning patrolling, patrol base, procedures, how to dig a foxhole, how to hold a weapon, how to assemble your gear. Like, because you're assembling a rucksack, you've got now they're assembling their armor and everything like that. So it's like
Right.
you're learning the gear, and then the ass kicker at the end of that is the field problem. That's 6 days, where you're awake for almost all of it, and you're doing land navigation by yourself, that you're timed on, and you have to make it to your points and everything.
Of course.
Like that. You
Yeah.
do GPS navigation with vehicles, which is almost a 30-mile multi-leg deal. And so that field problem is what gets rid of, you generally go from a 30 to 40 person class to 10 by the end of it.
No kidding. Wow.
So
that's a high
Yeah,
attrition rate.
Yeah.
Well, your
3/4
final
of-
day, so your final like 24, 30 hours is the platoon movement. And that's generally like 18, 25 kilometers. And so again, like you've got guys that you've kept awake, kept on, rationed food, 2-3 MREs a day. And now, and they're being just pushed. And as soon as you pass all of your solo stuff, so as soon as you've done that, like then you're just waiting around until everybody gets graded, and then they go on their student movement, which is their platoon movement. And that's like, here are your 5 waypoints, and you guys have to patrol. And we attack them over that movement like multiple times to get them to react how they're supposed to and things like that. But it's just, yeah, you're losing people to the physical aspect. It's Florida, it's hot, like as well as these students are moving about 50 to 60 kilometers that week.
Man.
That's a lot. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's quite the crucible, as it were. So, holy cow! And so you said it's about 6 months from the time you started that school to the time you were out in. What do you call it? The Air Force. We call it the fleet.
Well,
so.
Yeah, or just at your unit on your team.
Okay.
But
In
still,
your combat
it's
unit.
a very long process. So for me, finished that tech school, you get your beret, the TACP beret.
Okay.
And then I went to jump school, and then I went to SEER, and then I showed up at my unit. But then when you show up, you have to go through a combat mission qualification train up, and that takes another 4 or 5 months. So you have to do your what are called CDCs, which these are like your manuals. You got to test out of that. There's 3 of them. So you have to take this end of course test, and then you have this practical evaluation of all your critical skills that you have to pass. So it's a pass or fail. So your leadership inside your team takes you out and makes you completely set up a vehicle, remote the RSC for the radios. Then you have to conduct a whole CAS mission and plan it. And you have to do everything correctly by the book without any safety violations. And then you are combat mission ready.
Nice. Okay. So, and now, quick acronym. What's RSC?
That's a remote That's an old radio system that we don't
Okay.
use anymore. It's a remote that you can leave the Humvee up to 3 kilometers away, and you have the like brain unit of the radio palette with you.
Okay. Nice. All right. And then you talked about SEER school. So that's survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. That's special fun, even though that's only a week. But
JT, you
It's
said
3
jump.
weeks.
You said
was
jump.
it 3 weeks of SEER school?
Yeah.
You said jump school. Does that? Were you done? Was that just jump school, or was it also the Halo?
No, it's just basic airborne.
Okay.
You don't go to Halo until later on if you go into that
Okay.
mission set.
Well, so by the time you got to your unit, you were pretty seasoned.
Well, I mean, it was all training, so like
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just more. They just dump more and more and more and more on you, and so even then, once you get CMR, you're able to be deployed. So with us, you deployed immediately, and that's where you get. We call it like they don't do this anymore, but you used to be an assistant to the JTAC. So when you were
Okay.
new, you were not certified to control and conduct airstrikes. You were in training. So even when you were combat mission ready status, you were called a ROMAD, recon, observe, mark, and destroy. Like you're the assistant to the JTAC, and you're learning. So how we did it back then is, you got your combat deployment as a ROMAD, and you came home, and then you started your mission qualification training to become a JTAC, and then you go back to Nellis, and that's a 6-week course, and then you come back home and you go through a month of MQT, which is they make you redo your night live laser and evaluate you. Which your JTAC evals are really, really hard. They are every possible hardest cast, like high threat cast scenario that you do, and you do it with a live aircraft, and you have to get bombs on target. So like our JTAC certifiers were not forgiving at all on evals. Like you are in a high threat environment with threats all over the place, with artillery and mortars and helicopters and UAVs, and everything is just in your chili. And now you have to conduct a cast mission safely.
What could possibly go wrong? Holy
Nice.
crap. Yeah. And it sounds like you're at about 2 to 2.5 years in by the time you're getting to this point even.
3, it was almost 3 before I went to JTAC QC. So had a whole deployment, had train up, and then got to go to Vegas, did JTAC QC, got my eval, and then 3 weeks after I got certified, I deployed again.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
Well,
just
all right.
astounding, though, that it takes that long to train somebody up for that mission. I mean, I'm glad they're putting that much effort and detail and attention to detail into it, but holy
Well,
smokes.
now you have segregated basic training, which means only Air Force Special Warfare candidates are in basic training together. You're not intermixed with the regular Air Force. And your PT during basic training, because basic training in the Air Force is now 8 weeks, not 6, is ran by all of your actual AFSW guys. So it's not by drill instructors. Like you're being trained from the beginning. After you get out of basic training, you go to, that's William Shepard. He is an officer now and spent a lot of time at the Rangers. You go to an 8-week course now called the Air Force Special Warfare Candidate Course. And that's where they like get you ready for selection. And now there's a 21-day assessment and selection. So after 8 weeks, so you're at 4 months now, you go to a 21-day assessment and selection. While you're in selection, they are plucking you based on your strengths to which career you're going to go. Are you going to be a PJ? Are you going to be a combat controller, a special reconnaissance, or a TACP? And you have, if you're top of your class, you have some say in that, but generally the instructors are putting you where you were stronger, based on the selection criteria. And then you go to your course now. And I'm unsure how long it is now, because they've taken, now that they're doing SUT and a lot of the small unit tactics in selection, I don't know how much they're doing in the course, but the course is going to teach you how to be a TACP. Once you graduate, you go to Camp Bullis to what's called the FTU, the Field Training Unit, and they do your your combat mission ready status, and they send you to JTAC QC. So now when you get to your unit, you're coming to your unit as a certified, qualified, and tested JTAC.
Well, that seems a little more efficient now. That's
Yes.
streamlined. That's pretty awesome.
Oh man.
It makes I think my fact school there in Norfolk was, I don't know, eight weeks maybe. It seems like it was hardly anything.
Yeah, a little undertrained.
This seems a little more intense, for real.
Right.
Well, I mean, one of the biggest things that people overlook of what a JTAC is doing, and the hardest thing is, I am real-time battle tracking better than the commander is, because I have to know where everyone is that is friendly before I strike. So I'm constantly like in my head, on my right ear, I'm listening to the Army's communications, and I'm moving them around the battlefield in my head as I hear them say, "Hey, second platoon just push phase line alpha." Okay, well, I know. Okay, second platoon's up here. Like,
yeah, you got big SA. That's crazy. And
which is helpful when you're putting steel down on the deck, down on friendlies.
Well, and you need to give it to the community. Like, in the last 25 years, we have truly only seen about 3 fratricide incidents where the JTAC was at fault. So if you cross-reference that 3 over the top of the hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of strikes that happened in the last 25 years, I think we got good numbers.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I think so too.
Oh man. So Styx asked the question, and could you explain the difference between the JTAC and the TACP? I think one's an individual and one's a party, right?
Well, that's the thing. This TACP is like the career doctor, and then you're a medical doctor, but now you're a brain surgeon. So gotcha. TACP is the job. JTAC is a certification that you achieve. So, and every service, you can become a JTAC. So the Navy has JTACs, the Marines have JTACs, the Army has JTACs. As long as you go through the official JTAC, there's the Navy has a course out in Fallon. The Army has a course in Yuma. The Air Force has our course in Nellis. I'm unsure where the Marines have theirs, but I imagine it exists.
It used to be in Norfolk at the Special Warfare Training Center East.
Yeah.
Well, if you were on the East Coast, that's where.
Actually, you know what? I think Fallon. I think it's at Fallon now. I think they both crushed into Fallon.
We spent
a
year there. We spent a year there 1 month in Fallon, didn't we?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Oh man.
All right.
Fantastic.
So combat deployments. How many did you do?
I just did 2. So I went to Mosul. Well, I went to Baghdad first for 4 months, where I was in the Corps Operations Center, the Joint Operations Center.
Yeah.
I got to watch what warfare looks like from a strategic theater level for 4 months. So as an E4, I'm literally getting my doctorate in warfare, because I'm sitting next to General Vines and people that are literally running the entire theater of war. And I'm watching this process where, our commanding general of theater changes based on intelligence briefings, is changing his focus, and he's shifting resources and combat power in real time. Like just
That must have been fascinating.
Just to like, I know this could be incredibly boring to some, but one of the things is like when you look at your average day, you would receive around 110 to 130 airstrike request forms. Those were from JTACs and units all over country that said, hey, we're going to do a mission tomorrow. We want to request air power to be part of that mission. Okay, so all those things can come to you in the JOC. And then my job was to prioritize them based on the commander's guidance. So I'm looking at what unit you're with, where you are in country, and then I am prioritizing that because this is called an allocation. So the allocation of air power from the KAOC, which is an LUD, says, hey, we can fly 60 sorties a day. So, well, I got 130 airstrike request forms, but I only have 60 sorties. So I have to allocate and match each sortie with an airstrike request form that meets the commander's overall guidance based on his priority. So, one time he came out, he said, Baghdad is our priority. I want to own Baghdad before I even care about anything else right now. So that meant if you pushed up an airstrike request and had Baghdad on there, you went to the top of the pile because per the commander's guidance, this is his focus. Now, one thing that I did effectively, and this was literally just out of the fact that I was incredibly bored and was trying to find something to do, is at the time we were flying 24 hours a day, what was called a pipeline security sortie. So there was a pair of fighter jets 24 hours a day that would fly the Iraqi pipeline from the south all the way to its farthest portion of the north. And this bothered me because it was two combat aircraft that I couldn't touch that were always flying. And when you're sitting in the spot, you're seeing every troops in contact that happens unfold every single day. So, and these are all my friends, by the way. So, oh, hey, my friends in Talafar are in the troops in contact again. And they are on the radio calling up saying they need air because they're getting attacked or overrun or everything like that. And so I looked at the MISREPs, the mission reports, and I scrubbed for 7 months. And out of a 7-month, 24-hour-a-day sortie, they had only reported 2 things. And only one of those 2 did the Army act on and actually go take a look to see if it was of any significance, and it ended up being incorrect. There was no vehicle that was suspiciously around this thing. So I brought that down to General Petraeus and said, hey, because he was very hot. He was the assistant CHOPS at the time. Okay. The chief of operations is what CHOPS is. You call the general in the ops room. Yes, yeah. CHOPS. And he was very big on being impatient when, like he hated when it took a long time to move aircraft to a unit that was in a bad troops in contact. So that was his pet peeve. So I came down and I said, hey, I was like, right now, our TIC response to Rawa and Talafar, which is kind of the focus at the time, was pushing north and to the west, is almost 40 minutes, and these guys are getting in a tick every 90 minutes. I go, so here is this pipeline sortie that does nothing that we could steal, and we could put a CAP, which is a constant air patrol, above Mosul, and then I can get a 15-minute tick response time to Rawa and Talafar rather than 40 minute, and risking somebody hit the tankers. And he was like, yes, how do we do this? I go, you are going to have to call Jedi, which is Jedi is the head of the KAOC, and that's a 3-star Air Force.
They aren't going to listen to Corporal T. You're going to have to handle this in general.
Yeah, not senior airman.
Yeah. But see, you had the data. You had the data to show them, right? And that's powerful.
So Yeah, I did initiate I got on Merc and went to Jedi as, core TACP or core ALO and said, hey, General Petraeus would like to have a word. And I hear them exchange the phone call. And
Oh crap!
And like at first, yeah, it sounded like he was arguing with him, and then he's like, and then it clicked in the general's, in the KOC director's head. I think he was like, actually, you know what? I'm sick of wasting these guys just flying those damn pipelines. He's like, I like this, yeah. And they're like laughing and like, heck yeah. When can we get it moved? They're like, hey, we'll have it executed in 3-4 hours. Like, and hung
That's
up.
awesome.
And, yeah, I got to be the one that put it out to all of the JTACs that we just brought tick response time down up north.
Well,
that's awesome.
Fantastic.
Hey, you just
does that fall under? Oh, go ahead, Fig.
You just used another acronym, and I know what it means, but could you, for our non-military guys, MERC? You said via MERC.
Well, MERC, that's what it's called.
It's a secure.
MIRC.
It's secure texting. Yeah,
it's like Yahoo Messenger, but for secret internet.
Yeah, Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, repeat. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No worries. So I'm assuming that this is going to fall well under the note about a good combat lesson and why it's important to listen to your NCOs.
Oh, absolutely. Is that what I wrote?
Yeah, it's one of the notes that we got.
So no, that was I know what I'm talking about. There is we had halted in a position in Mosul. I was with the 172nd Stryker Brigade, 4-1, the Buffaloes, and we had halted in this position outside of this town that we knew that we were going to get issues with. And the sergeant major is walking around. We're in Strykers, and so we're hanging. When you're in a Stryker, you stand on an apple crate outside of the air guard hatches with either your rifle or, like, I had a M240 Bravo, which is a big heavy machine gun, on like a zipper rig where it's like on a spindle that kind of you can lift all over the place and drag it around. And the sergeant major walked by and he stopped and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him like, what? And he goes, roll your fucking sleeves down and close them up.
Yeah,
and
because it's important to be proper uniform when
God, man, like
it's 140 degrees out.
Yeah, so I zip him up on my gloves and he walks away, and as soon as he walks away, I rolled him back up and we take off. Well, as soon as we're not in that area that I said we knew was going to give us problems for less than 5 seconds before they started giving us problems. And I swing the 240 around to start to shoot up along these rooftops where these guys are running and shooting down on us. And I pull the trigger and the brass falls right into my sleeve and burns me. So I go down. I only get 3 rounds off the machine gun while they're screaming over the radio, hit them with the 240. And I'm trying to get a piece of brass out of my thing. And you know what? Like, when we got back, the ramp was down and I'm putting a Band-Aid. The medic is over there wrapping tape, and the sergeant major walks up and he goes, hey, Air Force, you know what? He goes, it's not always just we're not always just saying shit because we think it's cute to say shit. And he rolled his sleeve up and he had a burn mark on his thing. Sometimes we've fucking done it.
Oh, that's money.
Nice.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So do you still have the scar there?
Yeah.
Luckily I didn't get burned crazy. Like it wasn't a bad one. Like I was just doing the hot potato dance,
Yep.
Trying it, but it did it. It took me and my weapon out of service.
Yeah.
When they needed us, like to be there, and it was
that's
all
hard
because
lesson.
I wasn't listening.
That's hard lesson.
Right. Mine wasn't combat, but I do still have a 5.56 millimeter circle on my knuckle from where I got my hand in the way of an ejection port on an M16. But that hot press will get you. Yeah. Holy. Oh.
Hey, first TDY, captain has been caught by the police. What's that about, JT?
Whoops.
Oh yeah, my very first TDY. We go to there's a bombing range in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, called the Deadwood Range, and it's in a town called Mauston, which is about 2.5 hours north of Madison. Well, the first night we get there, we stay in Madison, and
Ooh, college town. Yeah.
our
that could be dangerous.
ALO, who was a B-1 bomber pilot, we get back to the hotel, and he wants to keep drinking, so he breaks into the hotel kitchen and steals a 6-pack of beer and then hides in a giant like a cupboard, like a stainless steel cupboard, drinking this beer when the police catch him, because he was all on camera of him like breaking this lock. And and then it turns out that the beer he had stole was non-alcoholic beer, so he's just hiding in this cupboard. So the police are interrogating him, like have him sitting down in cuffs, while my team sergeant, who's also hammered, is like, "Hey, we've all been to Sear. You're not going to get anything out of him. You might as well just let him go." Like,
All right.
And eventually the hotel staff was like, "Just pay for the lock and we'll, you can let him go." Like, so yeah, it was.
He's not going to tell you anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like my team sergeant was making it worse with the cops. He's like, "He ain't going to tell you shit, dude. Like, you can torture him. He knows how to do it."
Oh, right. Yeah. But, video.
Key the mic
Too
again.
funny.
Key the mic again, and I'll throw it across the room.
Yeah.
What does that sound like?
Okay. Yeah. So I was deployed in 2007 for the Baghdad search, and I lived in the city. We had built our own outpost in the middle of Baghdad, just towards the border of Sadr City, which, I fought the Jaish al-Mahdi militia every day for 10 months. And so, we are fighting. I'm with the 82nd, and the 82nd they are, recon by fire. Like, they go and every day they kick the hornet's nest and they get themselves in a fight. And that's how they operate. So we've been operating like this for about 5 months, and we're tired. Like, it's hot. We go out all night and conduct raids and go and try and snatch people up, and then we get attacked all day. So we have to keep getting woken up and defending our outpost and things. And so we got this new kid that was a 13 Fox. So that's a artillery or a forward observer in the Army.
Okay.
And he's like 18 and just graduated AIT. So like,
oh wow,
graduated Army basic training, went to the FO school, and then showed up at his unit, and they're like, they're deployed, and they're like, so get on a plane and go meet him there. So he's out there. Like, this guy doesn't know anything, and we have been, and that's where I sit in the talk, is next to the fires desk. So all of fires for our battle space is happening through these guys. And, he just kind of, right away, his attitude was he was blowing me off because I'm in the Air Force and I must not fucking know anything. And why is this?
Oh boy.
And so every company has their fires lead, their lead FO, and Bravo Company was kind of our, of the 2nd of the 325, the White Falcons. Bravo Company was our like smash company. Like, you sent Bravo Company to go fuck people up. Like, that was their job. Like, and then you had Delta, who had the vehicles, so they would drive them there to fuck people up, and that's kind of how that went down. So Bravo Company's FO, his name was Barton, and him and I had a really good relationship, because when things are going down on the battlefield, I'm calling him, and I'm doing type 2 controls through Barton if I have to, and I'm passing Barton assets, by the way, too, if I have them. So if he's in a fight, I'm gonna hand over my airplanes to Barton and let him handle it, because he's on the ground, and I'm just gonna observe, and I'm gonna be another set of eyes to just be checking everything that's going on. It rests on my shoulders at the end of the day, but I was comfortable enough with Barton for doing this. Now, this particular day, they went in and they fucking kicked the hornet's nest, and they get like into a big fight with a group of individuals with some heavy guns. And immediately I pull, because we had direct support Apaches, and I pull them over, and I tell Barton, I said, hey, I will have you Apaches in 2 minutes. I go, so they're yours. As soon as they come in and check in with me, I'm passing them down to you. So they come in, I pass them down to Barton. Barton immediately starts a call for fire. Like, so he's going to engage with the Apaches now because they're getting their ass handed to him. Well, Dum Dum over here keeps keying the mic and asking the Apaches for a sit rep. And I'm like, hey, leave the fucking mic alone. There is a guy doing a call for fire 5-line right now that's in contact. I go, Barton has the assets. You are no longer part of this equation. And he was like, I have to get a sit rep. I go, there is a call for fire going on, kid. Shut up.
Yeah, that's your sit rep.
And he goes to key again. I go, you key that again, and it's going across the room. And he keys it again, and I ripped the hand mic out of his hand, and I threw it across the top. And he stands up and starts crying like a kid and runs out like to go get,
get dad.
Go get dad. And so he comes stomping back in about 15 minutes later with dad, and dad's yelling like, how dare you rip the mic out? I said, hey man, he's stepping on Barton while Barton's in the middle of a call. He's like, I don't care. Like, he didn't want to listen to me. I'm like, okay, you don't want to listen to me. And the S3 standing right there. And he's like, keeps trying to get the S3 to interject. He's a major. And he won't, because the S3 knows I was right. And so like we come to this like standstill where I'm kind of like, fuck you. And he's like, fuck you. Well, he's standing by the desk, and these guys come in back from that thing. And Barton comes stomping through the entire talk.
Perfect.
Sweaty, with just dirty, like covered in shit, like all his stuff on, and he grabs the guy that was dad, and is like, if you fucking idiots ever do that to me again, I'll kill you. And I'm sitting there smiling, huge, right into Wolliver's fucking face, like.
So, hey, just so the point's not lost here, for our listeners that may not be savvy about this, when that kid was keying the mic, he was blocking all radio transmissions to the helicopters, which was not
they couldn't
good.
get the gouge to drop the weapons.
Hey, you just JT, you just triggered a thought. Can you just quickly talk about what the different types of casks? Because I heard you say type 2. So you got like 3 different kinds, right? Type 1, type 2, type 3.
Yeah. So type 1, you have the most. It's the most control that a JTAC has, but that means that I physically can see the aircraft that's engaging, and I can physically see the target that we're engaging, and I have complete SA of where friendlies are. So that is called a type 1. Type 1s are generally, also, a lot of times can be danger close, which means that is in the inside of an envelope in which you might get hurt.
Yeah. Frag pattern of the weapon.
From your own weapon. And but you're calling something in danger close because you don't have any other options.
Yeah.
Days gone bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
A type 2 control is when I have real-time targeting data, but cannot actually, am not physically there. So real-time targeting data can be through an FO. It could be through a sniper. It could be through a UAV. So I can control an airstrike via a UAV as long as I have real-time targeting data. And that's going to be considered a type 2. And then a type 3 is when friendly forces are not considered at all. And I can leave it to the aircraft's discretion based on, parameters that I give him. So if we haven't even left our base yet and something's kicking off, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers away, I can tell the aircraft or the pilot, the aircrew, and say, hey, you're cleared type 3 for the next 15 minutes to just go deal with whatever that is and just report to me with BDA. You're type 3 cleared to engage.
Thank you for that. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, wow, it's hard to believe we've been going at this 45 minutes already.
Right?
So, all right, this is fantastic stuff. So, I think we should take just a moment and thank the folks who helped bring this show to you. So, there I was, standing in my kitchen contemplating if I could count a spoonful of peanut butter and a handful of shredded cheese as a balanced meal. That's when I remembered Factor, chef-made gourmet meals that make eating, well, easy. Factor meals arrive fresh and fully prepared, so all I have to do is pop them in the microwave for 2 minutes and boom, dinner is served. No grocery shopping, no chopping, no wondering if I should just eat cereal and call it a night. Now, I'll admit, when I saw a spicy sausage green bowl with farro, butternut squash, and kale on the menu, I was skeptical. Kale? Me? Not exactly a love story, but wow, was I ever wrong. It was flavorful, hearty, and made me feel like an actual responsible adult who makes good life choices. Look, with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences, each week Factor makes it easy to stay on track. Whether you're calorie smart, protein plus, or keto, there's something for everyone. And speaking of keto, did you know you can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor keto meals? Science says so. Your willpower, however, is still on you. And it's not just dinners. Factor also has wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, and grab-and-go snacks, so you can fuel up any time of the day. No excuses, no sad lunches, just good food that fits your lifestyle. So, if you're looking to eat smart and actually enjoy your meals, it's time to make your life easier with Factor. Here's the deal. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/SoThereIWas50off and use the code SoThereIWas50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code SoThereIWas50off at factormeals.com/SoThereIWas50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Look, life's too short for sad, flavorless meals. And let's be honest, your fridge isn't going to restock itself.
So there I was, cruising along, flight level 350, thinking my retirement plan was on autopilot. But then I realized planning for retirement isn't a set and forget situation. That's when I learned about HSI Wealth Strategies. HSI, that stands for Horizontal Situation Indicator. Like the gauge in our cockpit, it tells us exactly where to go. It's a little compass rose type thing. It's a map. Well, HSI Wealth Strategies does the same thing for your retirement, helping you stay on course to reach your financial goals. Here's the best part. These folks are pilots. They're former military aviators who still fly. They know the unique challenges pilots face with high-income careers, complex airline retirements, and the risks of conventional financial advice. They specialize in strategies to maximize your savings during your career and minimize taxes when it's time to start spending. Because taxes and inflation are like headwinds working against your progress. And HSI is saving their clients $1 million to $1.5 million on average just by optimizing retirement strategies. That's serious money. Money you don't want to leave on the table. If you're looking for expert advice from someone who truly understands the cockpit and the challenges of planning for retirement as a pilot, check out HSI Wealth Strategies. Call Robbie Walling today at 214-538-7030 or email him at robert.walling@novembermike.com. That's robert.walling@nmnovembermike.com. Because when it comes to your financial future, you only get one approach. Make it count with HSI Wealth Strategies.
Yeah, thank you so much to Factor and HSI Wealth Strategies for sponsoring this show, and welcome back. Okay, excuse me. Oh,
Whoa!
I tried to hit the mute button and I was in the wrong program, so that was special. One of those Mondays. All right. So, let's get back to some of the notes there, and I want to circle back to you finding yourself on a ladder with the world going to shit around you as we get near the end there. But let's elect a new FOB mayor, forward operating base mayor. Sounds like weren't happy with the leadership you had.
Oh, there's a good story there, I'm sure.
Well, no, it was just it was a joke. Like the joke behind it is like the FOB mayor is just your support company's first sergeant. They just call him the FOB mayor because he kind of he runs all the logistics of what happens on the FOB. So when me and a few other, board infantry guys started making election posters for FOB mayor, it pissed the first sergeant off, like, because he would collect all these posters up and yell in the talk about how this is an elected position and we're not holding election.
This isn't a democracy. Hey, that kind of triggered a thought, JT. You're Air Force guy, and you basically live, eat, and breathe every day with the Army, which is a kind of a different culture. How did that work for you guys?
I mean, I liked it because I don't know anything else. Like, also too.
Okay,
like,
I get it.
I kind of like got to experience like the military from a way that nobody else generally gets to. I've gotten to go out to sea on an aircraft carrier and watch A6s and F-14s come in and trap all night. Like I get to, do helicopter assault forces. Like I get to parachute. Like I got to do all kinds of cool military stuff like that, generally only, you get to do one.
Right. No, that's
driven in a tank. I've driven in armored personnel carriers. Like I've got to do, everything military.
That's pretty cool.
That is.
Well, I can tell you, from the Marine Corps perspective. Now, of course, I repeat, or I neither really did any significant time out of the cockpit, running around on the ground with a pack on our back. But I can tell you that the few instances where I had access, or not access, where I was sharing spaces with some of our Army brothers, they're different. They just operate. It's a lot of, hey, if it doesn't say this between these two things, well, we're not doing that type thing. And I don't know. I know you guys are probably operating a little more freely, but like you said, you just don't know any different because that's the culture you were surrounded by all the time.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun.
What's Cattlegate 2012?
Oh, that was like something that kind of made national Air Force military news.
Nice.
My, we were all up in the mountains of New Mexico training, and my guys killed a cow with a 50 cal.
More dead livestock.
And then, I put them on bed and destroyed the body and the evidence, and 30 gallons of diesel and a cow body for a full night, and then told them to keep their mouths shut, but they didn't. And then everybody, OSI at Alamogordo was so bored that this was like a murder case for them, so they treated it as such. Like,
it was a cattle murder.
Yeah.
Oh my! Hey, did it smell like a T-bone steak for a while when it was burning? No, not good. So OSI went full murder investigation and probably wanted blood.
And then they took it so far, like, and threatening everybody. Well, I mean, they pulled 3 guys off like a deployment. It's like, dude, let them go. God. Like you're dumb right now. And then after all said and done, the guy that actually like pulled the trigger ended up getting like $1,000 fine and a year probation from the sheriff's department. Like, so it's like you caused this whole big deal, and then the court was like, yeah, just pay for it. Like, who cares?
Yeah, come on, man. Well, so we have a theme here of Killing
Water buffalo,
livestock. Yeah,
cattle,
water buffalo.
elephants,
Yeah.
tigers.
It's something. So you kept the streak going. Thanks
Yeah.
for that story. That's awesome. What do you got here? The Baltic maple Canadians hate being called French.
Oh yeah, that was an exercise that we do with my last unit I was in, the 116th, and yeah, you want to get under Canadian soldiers' skin. I just kept calling them. I'm like, you guys are like French though, right?
Oh.
They're like, no. I'm like, yeah, but you're practically French, and like everybody was laughing about it, but one guy was getting really, really angry, and then we were all like in a gaggle one morning, and someone asked where the SKL was to fill radios. I go, oh, that French guy had it over there, and he just ran and tackled me, and we wrestled.
That was the last button.
Oh,
That's great.
that's fantastic. Well, yeah, keep pushing, man. Push the button. Poke the bear.
So I'm guessing.
yeah.
So this memory jogger, fly your own fighter jet, was probably because somebody was trying to fly somebody else's over the radio. What was that about? Fly your own fighter jet.
I mean, that was just when I bought an L-39 with Wiz Buckley in 2021.
Oh, actually, fly your own fighter jet.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
very
that.
cool. All right.
So L-39.
I grabbed about between 60 and 70 hours with Wiz when I had it, and then got rid of it because I scared myself. I put myself out over Tallahassee and was like, hey, can I ever be trusted in this? Probably not.
Well, there you go.
That's
those don't have ejection seats or not? The L-39.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, wow. Ooh.
They
And
can,
we know Russian ejection seats work pretty well.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a picture of one.
That's a check plane.
Yeah.
So where did you keep yours when you had it? Where were you?
It was down out of Fort Lauderdale, out of Boca Raton.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go out over the water and do acro
Yep.
and play
And then,
around a little bit.
Now I went a much cheaper route, and I just have a gorgeous simulator upstairs for the Hornet.
Yeah. You sent me some pictures
nice.
of that the other day. That thing is fantastic. I didn't.
Yeah, I have all the hardware.
Yeah. I'll see if in fact, I sent them to Sticks. I think Sticks can get them uploaded and show it for those that are watching. But that's fantastic. So not many Air Force enlisted men are able to buy their own fighter jet, which leads me to the question of what you do when you got out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was still in when we created Black Rifle, and
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
So
I was,
how'd that come about, JT? I mean,
me and
you guys
Matt
doing
were
your?
chugging around with Article 15. Like, we were kind of the first people to make fun of the military, and like in ways that military people understood it and thought it was hilarious. And so then we met Evan, and we did a few little business ideas with Evan. But Evan's passion and his like his hobby was studying coffee. Like, he ordered green coffee all over the world, and then would roast it and make his own roast profiles and all this. Like, so he was like, hey, what if we made like a tactical coffee? Like, nobody does that. Like, it's all coffee is kind of for snobs. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. And we just, hit the ground running, utilizing social media like strategies that were winning, using comedy to speak to the audience, and it worked.
Well, I have to thank you, because in 2015 we deployed. I was in the C-130 Air Guard unit, and we deployed.
Oh, you guys took a pallet.
Dude, we took a pallet of it, and everywhere we went.
That was LoJack. That's how we know each
Yes,
other.
yes,
LoJack.
it was
That's it.
LoJack.
LoJack. Yep.
And we would go to all the with different fobs. We'd shove big bags of coffee out for the troops. They loved it. So yeah,
That's
thank you
awesome.
for that. That was
You
awesome,
bet.
man.
Like, I remember, like Evan was like, we should just send a shit ton of coffee overseas for everybody deployed. I go, I got a buddy that just got to a C-130 unit in the Guard, and the Guard could do whatever they want. So I called him and like,
We did, dude. We had, those parachute bags, B4 bags, whatever you call them. we had like 10 of them stuffed, like bricks with big bags of coffee, and we put them on. We palletized them and smuggled them over there. We didn't smuggle them. I mean, we took them.
Took
They
them.
were ours. Yeah.
They had to deploy supplies. Oh, that's fantastic.
I love all your videos, all your commercials, videos, whatever you want to call them, man. They're awesome. And I just got one the other day. Best. They're
off the charts. Fantastic.
Yeah. No. What was the last one I just saw? It was
There's a sim.
Oh, look at
that. That's his personal simulator.
Holy shit, that's legit.
Yeah,
it
you
is.
got it all.
Yeah, it is.
I would make myself.
That ejection seat looks like it might work. Be careful.
Yeah.
That's from
awesome.
That's from a Strike Master.
Okay.
Counseling. It was tactical counseling or something like that was the title. Anyway, thank you for those. Those are awesome.
No,
What's DCS in the greatest demo squadron in the world? What is that?
Oh, DCS, Digital Combat Simulator. That is the software.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is what you're using?
And we have an aerial demonstration squadron, so it's like the Blue Angels, like the Thunderbirds, but we're called the Wet Boys.
And so you guys can get together and fly and do demos, and then can you watch it, virtually? I guess that you can.
Well,
put it all
we're
together?
banned from all virtual air shows now.
Oh,
and if you see our patch is F-18 with its wing on fire. So, imagine a demo squadron where we don't know how to do any demo, so we just run into each other.
You're banned from all virtual air shows because
I don't think you guys understand how serious these virtual pilots take this shit.
Apparently I don't. I don't know.
They are like I strongly believe they introduced themselves as Thunderbird 1 like in real life.
Oh wow. So this is legit.
Yeah.
Well,
right on. Okay.
Okay. All right.
We just started making claims like that we were the best demo squadron there was, like in the internet world, and that we had 13 awards, and it was pissing these guys off because they're like, "What awards?" Like, we got 13 of them. We were just we were Stolen Valor demo.
Oh
pilots.
my gosh, that's awesome. Hey, I guess this is a real thing.
And we got ourselves into an air show, and then as soon as the announcer announced us, you just see two of us run right into each other right over the top of the air show. And then the other four came in guns hot, and they're freaking out like there's no guns allowed. It was a big ordeal.
Oh, that's fantastic, man! Nothing like yanking their chains. Oh.
Hey, we need to look into this, repeat. Sounds like a cult. A cult. E air show blue.
They are strict.
Yeah. I think Styx is into that. I think Styx is trying to get his own simulator up and running. He was just talking about it with me pre-show about he's trying to set up a Harrier.
DCS has a great Harrier.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
that's all you need.
That's all right.
Get current again and call Chaos and say, "Hey, we're ready to buy your jet." We got there's a former Harrier guy that owns a couple that he did shows for a while. Yeah, he offered to sell them to us for a giant sum of money.
Yeah,
it seemed like it was too much.
We've used 8 of our 9 lives. We don't need to use the last one.
Yeah, we said, "Who's going to fly it?" And he goes, "Well, you guys can." I'm like, "Fuck that! That ship sailed."
Yeah. Styx is Microsoft Flight Simulator versus DCS. So okay. All right. Well, how about we circle back to you standing on a platform with the world going to shit around you?
It was the ladder. Like that was the scary.
It was a ladder, rather.
I'm climbing a ladder, being shot at,
trying to get calm.
And my weapon is bouncing all over the place, and my radio is like you're wearing 115 pounds of bullshit. And
were you trying to get to a better comm spot, or trying to get?
We were just trying to get up to see, but I mean, like I said back then, we went with an assistant, and my assistant, his name was Cody Cable, and he was an instructor at Fallon for a long time. He now works for the VA, but him and I were laughing the entire climb up that ladder, like because rounds are hitting all over us. I'm like, well, isn't this like just the most shit situation we can be in. I go, if I get shot, I'm falling on you. And he goes, well, don't get shot.
That's some of that battlefield humor. That's it's you got to have it. That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, it's awesome, but it makes my pop.
Yeah, it puts hair up on the back of your neck. So, but wow, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all you do for veterans now with Article 15 and Black Rifle Coffee. That's fantastic stuff. As a subscriber to the Black Rifle subscription, I have a Black Rifle Coffee subscription, and man, that's good stuff. So,
awesome.
Thank you very
much.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Any other stuff you want to tell us about that you're doing? Any ventures you're getting into?
The simulator thing is what I'm going to go back to. I think I'm finally ready. I'm going to start a simulator YouTube channel.
Right.
That's just like, showing off the sim, and it's so much fun. Like last night, I was just doing case one carrier landings for about like 2 hours.
Nice.
Wait, do you get graded automatically? Can you look at the profile you flew?
Yeah,
can you see what
you can replay it too. Like it's
shit.
And then they've got they've got all the lessons too that you can go through that'll just walk you step by step how to do things the right way.
Well, like the Dos Gringos say, how hard can it be? I mean, there's 4 fucking wires, for crying out loud. Right? You don't have to flare.
That's a lot of shit talking from an F-16 guy.
I know you're absolutely right. That's the best part of it.
Whatever, side sticks are gay.
That's what I say. Squat. If you're not see flare to land equals squatting to pee. That's what.
Right.
Nasty appears on Mooch's channel.
No, you kill me. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I think we probably ought to land this airplane. We've taken well over an hour of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all you've done for the country and for what you continue to do for veterans. That's deeply appreciated.
We wouldn't have it any other way,
No. That's great stuff. A couple other thank yous we need to get out there. The folks over at backbeatmedia.com that handle our advertising for us. We're deeply appreciative of that. And Dave Hamilton, who has three other shows, the Mac Geek Gab, the Gid Gab, and the Business Brain. So we're deeply appreciative of Backbeat Media. Who else, Fig? Some other folks we need to thank.
Well, we gotta thank Chase, Bago and Sticks for being in the background there and being our producers.
Right, they do amazing work for us, and we're deeply grateful to get all that stuff up when they do for us, so we can actually pay attention to the show. But maybe go out there and give us some ratings. Go to starwars.us/rate. It'll take you to some links where you can give us some 5 stars or more. Give us more. Give us 10 stars.
Hey, if you can't give us 5, tell us how to fix it, because we're trainable.
Exactly.
For the most part.
All right. And let's see. Sticks, Bago. Thanks to Badass over at bdsaviationphotography.com for letting us use his images. And there's just a couple others. I'm trying to think who it is that we might want to.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's those F-16 guys that make the Air Force sound good. Those gringos.
That's them. So, I guess until next week, everybody stay safe and check 6.
Check it. Check it.
Look behind you.
Well, there I was crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing all that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down in the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
It's what?
He said it's over.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
And cows on fire. We're out. Boom. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right.
JT, that was
you
fun,
bet.
buddy. Thank you.
That was indeed fun. So let me end the stream, everybody, so you can get on with your Saturday, and then we're gonna get the quick extra with JT here. So everybody, thanks for watching with us, live with us. Take care.